Real stories with bold creatives.
Hey, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Today, I'm joined by an amazing creative designer, businesswoman, and one of, honestly, the most interesting voices in a purpose-driven branding today. How, welcome to the show.
Hi. Hello. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks for having me on. Love the show.
Okay, and we've been just talking about the weather in Madrid and LA. It's raining on both sides, so yeah, it's kind of not the best way, not the best day, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So let's start with something fun, not business right away. 3 words that your husband would use to describe you.
Oh, my husband. Oh, that's great. Well, he knows me really well. He's my business partner as well, so as well as my husband. So he would probably say impatient, 100%. Which I don't know if it's necessarily a bad thing to be, but it probably is not a great thing to be. Probably not with him, impatient, because I always want to get stuff done. And I'm like, I've done this. Same in business as well, actually. I would probably say tenacious, because I quite like, I used to be a journalist. I like digging. I never give up on something until there's no other option. And so I quite like just getting into something, finding the truth of something, I don't know. So I think that's probably from my past. Loyal. I'm a Taurus. I don't really know much apart from my star sign, other than being a Taurus and other than knowing that I'm quite loyal. But I do have, I'm a very loyal friend. But then I suppose I also am quite black and white when something goes beyond a certain point, then I can also step away quite easily. So I'm loyal until I'm not but I'm also quite quick to then cut things loose if it doesn't feel like it's working.
If it doesn't work, it's just okay.
I don't know if I can blame that on being a Taurus, but yeah, those 3 things, I think.
And how about your kids?
What would my kids say about me?
Yeah.
They would say lots of, one would be Mummy's got big earrings and lots of earrings. I've got an 11-year-old and an 8-year-old. I know that's way more words than 3, but they would probably say, impatient.
Okay. Again.
Do it now. Again. But, they would probably say likes wine. I know that's 2 words. But they're always like, we always have lots of parties in our house. We have people all over the weekend, always. We always try and have a roast, which is an English tradition of having a big meal on a Sunday. And that there's always wine stocked in the fridge. There's always. So they're always noticing that and like, oh, but you have a glass of wine, Mummy, so why can't we have a chocolate?
No, I love that
clever.
part. So yeah.
They're clever like that. And I suppose that's more than 3 words, but I would also say very, I'm always trying, I don't know what they say about me. I don't know, but I think they think I'm a bit funny, I suppose. And I'm not in funny ha, but they must think I'm a little bit, more, I'm not, their dad is very, very, he's my co-founder, but he trains in engineering. So he's very practical. They probably say I'm very impractical. That's what they say. Yeah. I don't know I don't know how, I used to know how to do stuff around the house, but now I've just outsourced that to my husband.
Okay.
So I can't really fix stuff for them or anything like that. And I think that would be better.
Well, it's good to have someone in the house to do those things. So yeah.
Exactly, right?
Absolutely. No, in my house, I do that part of work. So
you're the practical guy. Yeah.
I also studied engineering, so it comes with
I bet you load the dishwasher really, really well. Like really, because
absolutely, like with order and everything.
Yeah, you see, I don't do that. My husband, it's like literally the thing I load it like like a mad raccoon on crack. Like, and he's just like, he's always like, oh my God, what do you mean? I can't believe you
What have you done? Yeah.
Really neatly, all the forks together and all of that. So there you go. That's the difference.
Yeah. You mentioned tenacious, and I guess that's because you actually worked as a journalist and you wanted to get into the real truth of things. You studied English literature, right?
Yes.
How did you go into design?
Wow, that's a good question. I always wanted to be a designer. I was really creative as a kid, so always drawing. I did art for my A levels. Art was always an elective, always. And then I wanted to do art for my degree, but I have quite an old-fashioned dad who he'd gone to Cambridge, and he was like, what you need to do is go to a really good university, and then you need to finish, and you need to get a job, and you need to get a pension. And I was like, oh, and this was a long time ago. It's like 2001 when I started uni. But so I thought, oh, okay. And he said, oh, art can be a hobby. You don't need to do it for your, no, don't, because it's not, you're not going to make any money. And I was like, oh, okay. So then he was like, you're also very good at writing. So why don't you just do that and read English instead? And I was like, oh, okay. That makes sense. And, it made sense at the time. So I gave up the art. I didn't do any art at uni. Obviously, just fell by the wayside a bit, or drawing. And then I read English literature, lots of Shakespeare, lots of books that I probably had more fun partying than I did reading, to be honest. It's where I met my husband at university. He was studying engineering there. And, it was it was literally the best time of my life. It was amazing. I've had lots of other good times in my life, but that was we had so much fun. And so I kept on bringing in lots of art and design into my English essays, and my tutors were like, what are you doing? You can't do this. We have to write about the book. And I was like, well, what about the art? So that didn't quite work. Anyway, finished. And then I started writing art reviews for newspapers. Off the back of that, I started working for a local magazine and a newspaper, and a national newspaper called Metro. And I started working for Guardian and other newspapers. I started writing art reviews, so critiques of art exhibitions or theatre reviews, dance, and all these different things. But then after a while, I was like, I feel like I'm just critiquing the creative work of other people. I can't, it didn't really sit well with me, because I was like, it takes a lot more balls to actually make the creative work in the first place than it takes to be the person being like, I don't like this color or whatever. It's not really, I just thought I need to be on the other side. So, that's what I did. So we moved to Australia, because it was a good way for us to change our career, just change where we are. My husband was born in Australia. So we moved out there. I retrained in graphics, at an art school there, learned the hard way, just on the tools, just making mistakes all the time. And then went to work at several different agencies there. And some of the stuff I did, some of the stuff I got wrong, and some of the stuff I messed up was like, big print jobs that I didn't do the right, or just, just all that stuff that you have to learn the hard way when you're starting out as a designer. So my creative directors at the time were very, very patient with me, but they must have been absolutely tearing their hair out, because I did there was some big stuff, but I also did lots of good stuff too, and they liked how I thought conceptually. So I was already starting to do that, working agencies, and then I came back to London. I went to St Martin's. I did an MA in visual communication design, sorry. And I was like, cool, that's what I want to do. I want to get some more thinking around it. It was great. I was there for 2 years, and it was the best of times. It was the worst of times. They were really tough on us, really, really tough. But we learned a lot about ourselves, I think, mostly. And then I went on to found some different companies for my husband, creative companies for my husband after the back of that, before founding what I'm doing now. So it's a little bit like that.
Okay. But I mean, I assume that you don't regret any of it.
No.
Or wouldn't change things, of course.
I would not change things, but I think that's with the benefit of hindsight now, because I think maybe even 4 years ago, I was like, I should have done this earlier. I should have done this earlier. Like, I can't believe, because now this is what we do, is like what we do. And it all makes sense. And the writing and the storytelling and the uncovering of the truth and the design smashed together. That's basically what that's what an branding agency does. So that, it all makes sense, but it took, and the two businesses that I ran with my husband as well, we sold one of them to a competitor, and then we repurposed some big warehouses that we had from the first one to do the next business. And so all of that, like business sense and like all the profit, the loss, the margins, all of that, we've like rolled into this as well. So that's really helped us. And the marketing and journalism, I know how to write a press release. That's also helped too. So it's all like
quite useful and
quite useful. Yeah. So no regrets. No regrets.
Oh, that's really good. And you co-founded with your husband the current agency in probably the worst possible period of human history.
Yes.
That we can imagine during COVID pandemic. How did it come to that?
Yeah, I know. They said there's never a good time to there's never a good time to have a baby, and there's never a good time to set up an agency or a business. But you know what? There's like, that was quite a bad time because we had both kids at home and they were really young. So and one was 3, one was 5. And they were stuck in the house, and, how did that come about? It came about actually because we had run our previous businesses quite like agencies, and one of the designers in one of the businesses we had, which was a co-working business, we needed a logo for that business, and he was a designer there, and he was like, we should, we worked with him and we got something up, and then we just felt like it made sense, and we were like, we should probably do this more often. Actually, we should do this maybe as a thing, and then that's what led to it. But obviously, we launched then, but there'd been a few months before of us like working on the website, and then like it took a few months but we just had to do it, and you just have to do it at the time because it feels right, and that's what we did. But it was very stressful.
I can only imagine, yeah. And at the time, were you at Lisbon, London?
Yeah, exactly. So we were in Lisbon when we first founded it in Lisbon. We'd moved over because we'd planned to move over to Lisbon a year later, but we actually moved a year earlier than we anticipated, and we started everything earlier than we thought. So we've been running a few projects with the designer who had helped us with the logo, but we really wanted to bring it all together, and that was in Lisbon when we officially launched How&How. And yeah, I think we were there in Lisbon. It meant that we had to grow a team. We grew everyone remotely at first because we were all stuck at home and everyone was being remote. So that's just how we grew the team. And then suddenly we realized when we started coming out of the lockdowns that it's quite nice to be able to go somewhere with some people. And so we started working at co-working. And then we started getting a few people from Lisbon to work with us, but we knew lots of the design talent was in London because Portugal is 20 million people. Greater London is 20 million people. So, and there's so much good talent in London. So we knew we always needed people there as well as next to us in Lisbon. And so we started to then grow the team. Some people remote, some in Lisbon, some in London. It was all a bit organic at first. And that's how, kicked things off in.
And now you are between 3 locations, Lisbon, London, LA, or Lisbon is out of the story?
Lisbon's out of the story. So what happened was we grew because everything was organic. We ended up, and because there's less design talent in Lisbon, we ended up growing a team of producers there, account managers, them all, because there's some great people there. Really loved. I love. They're still really good friends. The designers were all in London, and we felt like it sort of worked, and we were working as a unified team as we still do. But then the designers were like, every time we need something, with an account manager, which is often, we have to jump on a call with them. So everything was always like this, like on a call, you can't just reach over, and you can't do little meetings where the whole team is there.
Yeah.
And it was starting to really great. And we knew that we either split both teams and grew one and grew upon another and grew them up, or we had to, we couldn't work remotely with cross teams all the time. And so we also were doing lots of work over here in the US, a lot of clients on the West Coast. And Portugal is great, but it's not the epicenter of lots of stuff. It's sleepy. It's beautiful. I'm half Portuguese, so my mum is Portuguese. I love it. Kids love the language. Excellent. But in terms of wanting to run a business with our ambition that we want and the scale that we want, it just wasn't. We thought we could make it work, but after 4 years there, we were like, okay, we still need the roles, but it's just in the wrong place. So we sunsetted Lisbon. Okay. We offered everyone in Lisbon the chance to move to London or LA, because we were like, we're going to move. We're just going to make sure we're in the right places for where our clients are. And a few people went remote. Some people went freelance. So remote's still working for us. But we knew that couldn't be, it had to be roles which were slightly more, not production based roles, and the roles had to make sense to be remote.
Yeah.
Whereas we knew all the account managers had to be in one of those locations. So yeah, we sunsetted Lisbon and we grew the team to, I think we're about 26 now in London.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it grew, and then we
amazing.
Put everything into that. And now we're over here doing the same thing. So, but we wanted to make sure that London is as complete and as structured now, which it pretty much is. We've got someone just joined us this week, and Shrash is joining us in January. And I think then we have an account manager as well, joining in a few months. And then that will feel like it's its own thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
But congrats. That's a huge amount of people, and it's a really big thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great. It's a lovely group of people as well, because under 30, it's manageable. I know that once we cross that, we don't really ever want to grow more than 30 in London. We're going to want to grow more here. If we have the capacity, we're going to grow here and maybe another location in the US. That's the plans, because it's a nice number. It's a nice, and everyone. Yeah. And then the minute you go over that threshold, then you just get problems, and it's a different beast. Yeah,
that's totally true. Okay, and I don't know. I watched the website, and I love absolutely the presentation of the projects. It's so fun, interactive, cute in a way, and really, really nice. And I enjoyed it, because not many designers agencies present their work in that way, and especially with those animated pictures at the top. It's really, really cool. But you also, in your work, do you try to be purpose driven? Do you try to work on climate projects?
Yes.
And what actually moved you guys to do that?
Yeah, we are a big corp, and that took us several years to get, because we were bouncing around different co-working spaces, and a large chunk of the requirements are where you work and the energy ratings, and there's loads of stuff that we can contribute to that. So because we were always bouncing around, it took us a long time to formalize everything. So we got that in December last year. And so that really has been, it's so difficult to do, but it means that all the things that you need to do. And lots of initiatives that we have now, I had no idea about. It was great. It's like a crash course in make sure you have an initiative for this, or a policy for this. Have you thought about a breastfeeding policy? And we thought about, all these different things where I was like, no, I have not. So it's like a cheat sheet of all the stuff you need to be able to offer people, and actually, go straight up to the top of being able to offer, your team the best range of stuff possible, and range of options for work and what have you. So that was a big push. But also before that, we had seen that we wanted to make the work that we wanted to, get the clients that we wanted to work with through making the work. So we knew that climate is a massive problem that needs to be solved. We knew that we wanted to work on stuff that made us feel good. We also knew that our designers wanted to work on stuff that made them feel good. You really feel like creativity is such a powerful thing and tool that how can we communicate that problem? How can we communicate? If we communicate it really well to the best of our ability, maybe we can really make a difference. And we have had examples. We did some work for Aruba Conservation Foundation, and they've come back with like, look at actually what you guys have achieved. We're all this change, all this extra. And that's so satisfying. So we actually had an initiative called Get Set, which was where we funded 4 clean tech startups a year, so pro bono, but we literally would just do a brand, do a pitch deck, sometimes even do a one-page website for them so that they could then go with their ideas to investors and get those ideas realized. And that was our way of A, helping out, B, making sure we had what in our portfolio stuff that we then wanted to use to win other work. And yeah, that's what we did. We ran it for about 1.5 years. We did like a bio-concrete startup. We did this amazing material information company who are challenging Gore-Tex that's actually produces lots of it's amazing mono material. No, it was really exciting, and the projects were really different and really exciting ideas. But just that's and then once we had that going and rolling, then I think we did some other campaigns, one for a car microplastics, car tire microplastics company that there's lots of wear and tear that comes off car tires that people don't know. Anyway, so all that stuff. But yeah. So you'll see a lot of that in our work.
No, that's amazing. Yeah. One of the things that actually brought my attention is that when you redesigned Free Tree, you actually asked them to pay you by planting the trees.
Yes.
Trees, yeah.
60 grand, 60,000. Yeah.
I mean, that's a really huge thing.
Yeah. It is a huge thing. It was a really lovely project So Christian, the CEO, is actually a really good friend of mine, and when we lived in Portugal, he had a house on the beach next to our house. And so, through a mutual friend, we connected. And anyway, we went for a coffee one day, and he said, I've got this project. There's just it's not really, we don't really have much money for it, but it's this sister project to Ecosia that he runs, which is a search engine that plants trees. And he was like, oh, but we need it really quickly. And I said, okay. We'll tell you what, if it's the money, I was like, just don't worry about the money. And I think if you can just pay us in trees, that would be way more valuable. He's like, you sure? We were like, yeah, okay, let's do it. And he was like, oh my God, okay. Because it's like the money was, obviously my team got paid. We were paying our team still to do the work, but we didn't take anything. And then we quantified it all. We've got a little certificate as well from them. This is how many trees he planted. And it was just a nice, it was a nice way of giving back. That was a great project too. Really fun.
That's really amazing. I mean, it's such a different thing to see that kind of work and that kind of like a payment, and to actually see big design agencies. I mean, so many people, and you actually do those pro bono things, and that's really, really cool about it. So congrats on that.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I would say to that was when we were able to do some more agile. I think it was a few years ago or 2 years ago now, I think. And I think we've had quite a lot of growth for the last year. And it was quite like that then, because we could be a bit more scrappy and we were able to do those things. The more you grow, the more mouths you have to feed, then the more considerations you have to have around, do you do this project? Oh gosh, but if we did this project, we wouldn't be able to. And then that's when it gets a bit complicated. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to do more projects like that. I mean, yes.
Okay. Is there any project you did that you would that you personally love the most, or is it hard to pick?
It is hard to pick. It's like each one is like a little baby. You can't say, oh, this is my favorite, or or a child. But I think there's a combination. There's a project that came out of the studio last year called Wild Things, and it's like a vegan candy that has a lot of sugar in it. And I love that one because everyone got to work on that together, like the whole agency. We did an ideation session at the beginning where we bought we got these candies, and the idea is that when you have a kid's birthday party, sometimes it's a necessary evil in the sense that if you're going to have a little sweet treat, it might as well be the best and the healthiest it can be. And so we got the opportunity to redesign even the shape of the candy itself and all the messaging, all the positioning.
Oh, wow.
And at the beginning, everyone was like, "Oh, we really want to work on this project. It's really fun." And so we said, "Okay, well, let's just have an entire agency-wide 1 hour creative session where everyone got online." And there was, I don't know how many people at that point, but client interns, client services, like whoever, everyone had an idea. And so everyone's like sketchy, like, what if we did the sweep which is like this?
Wow.
It was so much fun. And then we used that in our pitch, and we won the pitch because we wanted to show that like we were really excited about it, which we were. And so that one's fun. I think I like that one because of the fact that everyone was involved. So even client services can say, I was part of the creative, which is really rare. But then we also won it. And then we really differentiated it as well. We took it completely out of category because it was organic and vegan and healthy, which is like always really quite traditional, quite boring branding. We put it in we wanted it to feel like Haribo and like all exciting stuff that's really bad for you and rebellious. And so it was inspired by skate culture, tattoos, tone of voice was really edgy. So I love that one. And I actually do really also like the free tree one as well. Just for the tree thing, and also the brand idea, need more fuzz was a really nice one. So everything was fuzzy, and it was about growing fuzz because it was a tree planting app, which meant that when you used it, you could plant trees. And so I just love the how visual that was in terms of a brand idea.
Okay. Do you nowadays do a lot of design yourself, or is it more managing people and?
Yeah, no, never on the tools.
Do you miss it?
Definitely. Maybe some, not really, actually. I actually quite like just the old sketch. I mean, I'm really old school. I have everything written, like handwritten. Everything.
Okay.
But I don't, because I see it all the time. I'm very happy with my creative content and I'm happy that I'm satisfied creatively all the time because I see all the stuff, and I still have oversight of make sure when the case studies go out that they're just right. And but it's a lot more like top line. So instead of working in the business, I'm now working on the business. So more, more just how we present ourselves, how we market our own work. That's what my focus is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
but everything else at the beginning, all case studies until probably about a year ago was all me as well. So I was creative directing one of those. But since I've got Chris and Pri now, I've stepped away, and that's probably been about a year and a bit. Yeah.
Okay. And how is it? I mean, I worked with my husband, so I know it can be challenging. Is it true for you guys as well?
Well, we talked about the dishwasher, haven't we? So, it can be challenging, but actually we've got a really good way of working now where, because at the beginning it was like, but now we're very separate. Okay. So he does lots of he's a lot on, new biz like I am, but, it's more accounts and more cost. Okay. Just he thinks more about all of that side, which I'm very happy not to do. So I think we have very separate roles, and I think that's important because if you're doing the same thing, it can be very difficult, complicated.
Yeah.
But then there are success stories. I'm great friends with I've got lots of friends who can work with their partners, but. Yeah, we're good. We just go for a walk, and then we have very short. If we're going to have an argument, it's very, very like surgically short. It's like, and then it's over.
And that's it. Okay.
And no one else gets to see it either because we don't ever argue in front of the team. Which you can't do really. Ever.
Yeah. I mean, it should be quite unprofessional. Yeah. Oh,
Indeed.
But it's good that they are quick arguments, and then. You sort it out fast.
Yeah. You have to, otherwise you won't get anywhere, will you? So there's definitely no there's never any resentment or anything. We just say our piece and then move on.
Okay. Yeah. And how is it to actually juggle between all the roles, between family, 2 locations, so many people in the agency? How do you do it? How do you manage things? And
well, we work really hard, as I'm sure you do as well. But we get up very early at the moment, and this is something we don't necessarily want to. Well, I don't think it's very sustainable, but we have a lot of. We wake up about 5, and then our first calls start around 6. So that means everything we have to up and showered and dressed and present so. I'd quite like to not do that for the foreseeable, but I think because we still have quite a lot of not oversight, but crossover with London, because it's 8 hours difference. We only have this tiny window of 4 hours. So we have packed everything into that, and that's when we do. And then after that, when the team logs off at 10, that's when we work on stuff over here. And hopefully as we start to grow the team out here and the team in London gets more, independent, then we can maybe just eke a few hours. But we'll always have crossover with London because it's obviously the biggest location now currently. So yeah, that's how we do it. So we juggle it with early hours and just making it work really.
Okay. And you said kids are teenagers right now?
8 and 11. So
okay. Almost there.
Almost there.
The worst
getting independent. Yeah, exactly. They're getting independent. And it was certainly a lot harder when we were growing the business and we had 2 kids really young at the same time, because there's so much stuff that's just now I feel quite privileged. I'm they can they actually get themselves out of bed in the morning. Woo, yay. And so I think, that is a real privilege, and it allows us to be able to also now, not have to worry about when they're so small or getting sick all the time.
Yeah.
Like that. So, yeah. But, it's just, we just work hard, and we often do, 12-hour days sometimes, some 7, wake up, sometimes do calls from 7, and then we're still at work at 7, and I'm like, how has this happened?
Yeah.
But it's addictive, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay. You also do a lot of speaking, and one of the things that stood out to me is World Economic Forum in Davos. Not something you expect from a designer, but what happened? How did you do it? And
that was nice. Yeah, that was part of a roundtable I was on, which was about the sustainable goals and how we could bring, how creativity could be used as a force for good again. So coming back to some of the stuff I was saying earlier about how can we harness the power of creative to be able to do some good and actually have some sort of actionable change. That was a few years ago. First time in Davos, interesting place, really interesting place. Just interesting to be, to have to be part of those discussions. Because really it's the sort of place where you really do need to have a bit of a different outlook on, so much is about so much around money. Obviously, that's what it's about, economic forum. But how can we think differently about problems that we need to solve? Interesting place.
It's really interesting because you see designers going to Adobe Max and all these design conferences, and then you have the economic forum. But you personally think, if it's something you are willing to share, and do you think those kind of forums between politics and economics and money do actually do anything, or it's just for showing off?
That's a good question. I mean, I would argue that, I don't know. I'd argue that not much gets achieved at Davos, and it's probably quite a lot of grandstanding. But I think and I definitely think that there need to be more voices. You could argue the same with COP, like what's happening there. I think it's important for designers to be part of that, or creatives to be part of those conversations, though. I'm shocked that we're not more, because you have to think creatively and about problems, but so you can't just keep on doing the same thing over and over again. I'd love to see more of an opportunity for that, what we do, to be brought to the table, because how you communicate, again, communication, how we communicate problems and how we solve those problems is something that we do every day as creative. So why can't we apply that to wider things? Yes, people go to Adobe Max. Brilliant. I was here last week in LA. Yeah. Oh, so cool. It's so fun. But actually, we're all just speaking to each other, aren't we? We're speaking to designers. We're doing, and that's great. I love that. Don't get me wrong. But I would think it's way more important for us to be at places where we can actually influence, if we can influence politics, amazing. Why don't we have, Web Summit that I speak at quite often the last few years. That's really great. They've got a creative stage as well as other stages, and they have made a real push towards having, making creativity front and center in a tech conference about innovation. So we're getting there, but we need to be in more places.
More places, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's, as you said, we need creative thinking and creative ways to solve those problems, because obviously thinking only like the politicians, the politics, they didn't really solve too many things so far, especially on the climate change and everything. So yeah, I definitely agree on that one, that it's really important to think differently and have different initiatives. So that's really cool. Yeah. How do you find yourself there? Like, how do you feel when you go to such a place where it's not like, a creative conference?
Yeah.
What's the feeling generally? And
the feeling generally is like, oh my God, her earrings are really big and we're not used to seeing anyone wearing anything other than a suit. So I'm definitely the odd one out at those sorts of things. But I'm pretty comfortable. As a journalist, I was always interviewing people. I was going to things. There was lots of seats around, and quite comfortable in spaces where there's people from completely different industries. And I've been so used to interviewing people myself and just being on the other side. I'm quite comfortable, in different situations like that. So I think even at Web Summit, where there is that more creative stage, like 80%, 90% of the people there are working in tech. So there's not, again, it's I'm probably the odd one. Well, anyone that's on that stage is probably slightly the odd one out. But yeah, it's I wish there was just more creativity everywhere, personally. But we just got to work at that, haven't we?
Yeah, we do. That's true. Jumping to another hot topic nowadays, AI.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's your personal opinion, like, for the AI and creativity? Because all the big companies are trying to push it so much. So
my position on AI changes pretty much every day, but it's definitely, but I know where it's going, as in my position on it. And I think personally, I wish in a way, I'd started on it ages ago. I wish I had. I wish I was on it like 2 years ago. I'm like, what took me so long? So on a personal level, I wish I'd known to get into it. And so now I'm like, ooh, I'm playing catch up a bit, but it's good. I mean, maybe it's better late than never, I suppose. In our agency, there's a lot, it's really worrying for designers. Gen AI is complicated because the copyright infringement, things like that. So it's ethically a little bit disingenuous, but then we also use it. What about this? My gosh, this can work. oh, maybe mid-journey for this. Oh, and then we're like conflicted because like, oh, but we're using it, but it's there, and how, but if it's out there, then everyone else is using it. And then so what we've started doing in the agency is we have an AI channel. We have two AI champions. So we call them that's not really the word,
Okay.
but Stefano and Robbie, who are two midway designers who we've tasked with learning about more presenting to the team. Hey guys, we've seen this. This is great. Oh my God, we tried this awful. Oh, don't go near these guys, and it's really useful. So there's a lot of activity on that channel. Everyone's like, oh, have we seen this? And it's good, it's bad, it's ugly. And it's like, great, the good stuff, let's take that, let's use it. And then the ugly stuff, we're like, oh gosh, we want it to be an open discussion because different people have got different opinions about it. I know it's not going anywhere. Absolutely. I live in California. My God, it's like literally, we had LA Tech Week here a few weeks ago, and it should have been called LA AI Week because it's just basically that's what it is. And so we also know the reality of it, and that because it's everywhere, we have to be part of that conversation. So yeah, we're asked about it more and more with our clients. So we just use it as a tool to help amplify our work and enhance our work, but it will never take over our work. So we want to use it in client services to make sure that it streamlines processes and helps and for efficiency, which means we can get on with the creative stuff that's more fun. But anyway, so I have I'm up for it. And I think that's our position as an agency. We're like 100%, like absolutely bring it on. But we are also aware of the complications around it as well, particularly with Gen AI, which directly influences us. But then we also use, but I believe in even a few months, it's going to become so part of our conversation that it won't even become a thing. I don't know, regulation. I don't know. So it's moving so fast and we're all using those tools more and more that it's just going to become very standard. And we're just going to have to, deal with that.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting to me, I read it the other day in Australia. They have actually brought a law that forbids tech companies to use creative work to actually feed the AI engine. So that's kind of interesting. Do you think UK, US are anywhere close to doing that, or?
Well, I would say, I don't know about the UK necessarily. Well, I'd like to think they would, but I don't know. But the US, I live in California, which is really the best place to live in the US. Sorry, everyone else. But I love living in California because we have our governor, Gavin Newsom, he actually passed a piece of legislation maybe a month ago, similar to what you've said in Australia, actually. I remember putting it on the Slack channel and basically the same. So regulation here is starting to pull back, and there's just more conversations around, okay, this is appropriate, this isn't. And so it's a good place to be. So I do think it will normalize, I think the regulation I think it will work itself out. I'm confident that it will that there'll be pushback here on certain things. And I know there's, Disney lawsuit against Midjourney I think so, but don't necessarily quote me on that. But there's movement around, okay, this is great, but also this is not appropriate and this isn't cool. So I think, certainly from a state level in California, there's also the same thing you mentioned. Federal level, I'm not sure, but yet to see.
Okay. Okay. That's good to know that there are states and places that are actually trying to regulate things, at least a bit, because it was kind of a wild west.
Wild West.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But apart from work, even though you do work, like, as you said, 12 hours, what do you do after work? What do you do to recharge? What do you do to relax? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
LA
Well,
seems like a really great
oh,
place to do a lot of things. And
yeah, that's true. It is. There's a lot going on. It's quite difficult to get, it's so big. So it's quite, there's loads of stuff going on. And then I find myself half the time being like, oh, I can't go to Hollywood because that technically it's literally about 4 miles, but it can
oh, wow.
take you an hour to get there in rush hour. So that's a bit tricky. But yeah, what do we do to unwind? We live really close to Santa Monica Beach. So every day, about this time, actually, just after this, my husband and I we walk up to the beach, we walk all the way up to the Santa Monica Pier, and we walk back, and we do that in an hour, and we're literally over the hill. And I love that. So that's a daily ritual I do just to
Daily
break up the
thing.
day.
Okay.
And then we always go to the beach again with the kids on the weekend. And I just love Santa Monica Beach because you have so many characters, you have so many weird and wonderful people, and it's just a really fun place. And people are just doing like really cool roller skating, and like there's so many characters, people dress up, people doing weird yoga moves, people with like these crazy dogs that they're like walking their tiny little crazy dogs, or it's just like you never know what you're going to see, and it's so much fun. So we do that. We go on hikes. We went on a really nice hike in Malibu last week. It's really beautiful. We entertain a lot, so I love having people round. Like I said earlier, like always winding the fridge, always making sure that if someone dropped in, they could just sit down. So we always have people over Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But we go out for dinner quite a lot as well. There's a great food scene here, so mostly food, drink, beach. Art galleries, yeah, I'd argue that we have better art galleries in London, actually.
Okay.
I wouldn't even argue that. I'd say you have better art galleries in London, in my opinion. But so that's a bit. I'd like to have more of that. But then again, the city itself there's so much going on that it's sort of a piece of art itself. So yeah. So that's one thing I miss about London, actually, is that extra bit.
Yeah. No, I mean, I love it because you said food, drinks, and the beach. And it's almost like here in Madrid, except we don't have the beach.
The beach.
But we have beautiful weather, amazing food. You have you visited Madrid?
Yes.
I mean, you ever been in Lisbon? How do you find it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was great. Very much. I've always been like every year, obviously with my mum being Portuguese, always went to Portugal. We went to Spain actually for our honeymoon, and we went to San Sebastian, and it was so good. And we traveled the whole way down Spain and into Portugal, and yeah, it's great vibe. Love it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, I haven't been to LA, but it sounds like a lot of fun. Like in the movies, you see the roller skaters and so that's
what I love about LA is that it's got a really strong brand. I think I was thinking about this the other day, and it's so iconic. It's got a great, like, it's got a symbol, it's got the palm tree, it's got so many. If you think about it from a branding perspective, it's just really good at branding itself, and everyone knows exactly what that stands for. It's got the Hollywood sign, it's got a palm tree. If you put those two together, you know exactly the city. And of course, every city has got its own landmarks and what have you. But I think the personality of the city too is just, and everyone's quite. You see tourists on the beach, and everyone's just like, oh, I like taking a photo, like, and it's got. I think maybe because of Hollywood, I don't know, maybe because of all the film, and because it's so, I felt like I knew it even before I moved here, because I was so used to seeing these things on I don't know, Baywatch back in the 90s, or like, and I felt like I was like, I recognize that. And I was like, how do I recognize that? Oh, because I've seen it on TV like a million times. And then when you're actually living it, it feels quite surreal, but now that's become normal now. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you'd have to pick between London and LA, can you even answer that kind of question?
Well, it's nice. I love going back to London, actually. I love hanging out with the team. I really like it. I love the pubs, and I love I just love the banter. I love how people think. And so weirdly, most of our friends here are actually English, but we have some good Americans too, but I don't know how that's happened, but anyway. But I mean, the outdoor nature of living here is amazing, but it's very expensive. And sometimes I struggle, and sometimes I'm like, I'd like to go, maybe I'd go back one day. And my husband's like, what? What would you like? He's completely
No, he's
100%
not
here.
into it. Okay.
He loves here. I'm more torn between both, but I think I've only been here a year, so and we have a great life, so I can't really complain. But there's certain things about England that you just can't get here that I really
Yeah,
do miss.
I can
Yeah.
imagine. I can imagine that.
Mm.
Yeah, that's really cool. Um, I mean, I love what you said, that you feel it like home, even though England and London and Portugal even is
Yeah.
home as well. But I mean, I feel that way about Madrid, and from all the places
Oh,
I've been, Madrid only feels like home, really. So yeah,
right. Okay,
it's
so you
it's
weren't from
fun.
there originally. You're not from
No, I'm
you
actually
no.
from Bosnia.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
way
I
more
am from
warm weather.
Bosnia.
Yeah.
Yeah, horrible,
I get why you
horrible
made the
weather,
move.
almost like England. Never liked it.
Ah,
Never liked the
yeah.
weather, and
Mm,
moved to Madrid like 8 years ago almost, and
nice.
never really doubted for a second that it's for me, the best place to live.
Oh,
As your husband loves LA, that's
yeah. Oh, that's
that's
true,
not
me.
good for me.
I would love to have your conviction in that because I'm like, why can't I just? But I'm always a bit torn. I grew up in lots of different countries as a kid. I grew up in India and Thailand, and we were always going between Portugal and my sister was born in Peru. My little sister was born in Bangkok. Like, so we are all, and my dad,
Wow.
we were always traveling with my family for my dad's work. So I'm a bit like, change it up. Like then we went to Portugal,
Yeah.
then we were in Australia, then we come back, and I'm like, so I think because I've got that bug, I'm always like, oh, but maybe we could just go back. My husband's
Mm,
now like, no, this is great. We've got really good friends. We're starting to, and he's like you, basically. He's just like, I
okay.
love it. I feel at home here, and I'm like
Yeah,
more
yeah.
impatient.
Okay, okay. Well, you never know. I mean, we're
Yeah,
still young, so you
you're
never
right.
know.
Yeah, very young.
Absolutely. Um, if you could give one piece of advice to your kids about life in general, but only one, what would it be?
Um, I read this quote the other day, which said, I can't remember where it's from. Be whatever you want to be, do whatever you want to do, as long as it's outrageous. And I love that.
Okay.
So I was like, just do whatever it is outrageously. I was talking to someone about this, actually just today. Look, if they want to be a lawyer, I don't know how they're going to be an outrageous lawyer, but maybe they'll just be outrageously good at being a lawyer. I don't
Yeah.
know. But it's just like the freedom to be, um, yourself, but just make sure that you just make sure it's dialed up to the max. Because another piece of something I always say to them, just anecdotally, is like, go big or go home, kids, go big or go home, or like just be like, even with your homework, just do it properly, or just just do something properly and do it to the best of your ability. Otherwise, it's not worth doing it. So I think we've applied that logic I've probably applied that logic to a lot of things I've done, but I want them to feel like they can do what they want to do, but also that they need to amplify themselves as much as possible in what they do and push themselves as much as possible in what they do. And that's essentially what we do with our clients' work as well. We're always like turning it up, like, okay, this is who you are, but like, let's dial it up and like make it
Dial it
like
up.
a proper story that, somewhat, just make yourself heard. So I think, yeah, I would say that. I actually said that to my daughter the other day, that the outrageous thing, and she's like, Mommy, you're so funny. That's great.
Oh, that's so
I was
cool.
like, cool. Okay, good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe in like 5, 6 years when they get to the higher education, and maybe they will like accept that part.
Yeah.
And yeah, you never know.
Yeah. You
I
never
mean,
know
LA
how they're
seems
going to.
like a perfect place to be whatever
Yeah.
you want to be. And
Yeah,
yeah, so
exactly.
many options. So
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So we're always trying to encourage them to not just settle for second best. It's like, if you're going to do it, just like really try really hard and don't ever give up on stuff. So,
that's really, really good. Amazing.
mm.
Um, And for the design community, any specific advice for young designers? Something you have learned in your career, and you must have learned so many things. Is there anything specific you would share with them?
Yeah, I think we were talking about AI, and I think for young designers, particularly, I think there's a worry. And my advice would be, don't worry, try and keep your chin up, because actually what might seem a threat actually could be, if you think about it creatively, it could be a way of actually amplifying the creative that you've got in you. So I think it's to have almost like the trust in what creatives can do really well, and the trust in thinking creatively is something that AI just can't do. I mean, I don't know if it will happen at some point, but right now we own that, and we can, and that is so powerful. And I think it's the curation of stuff. It's the eye we have for things. It's deciding if something looks good or looks a bit off. No machine can do that, I believe. And I would like to think ever will be able to get that intuition, that imagination that we have, that smashing of different concepts in our brain. And yeah, it's doing quite a good job. But I still believe that like that core human trait of like idea generation, but with that past experience that we all have, and that instinct and that imagination, is something that no one can take away from you. And so I think it's like stay hopeful, and don't ever forget that that's something that can never be taken away. So I think that's, I suppose, a wider reflection on AI, because we haven't had that almost existential threat before with it. And so that's something that people are having to deal with. And even as an agency, I know I'm like, how are we gonna, I always just thought it would be like plan A. Like plan A is just get another client, and then you have another client, and now we've got this whole AI thing. It's like, oh, well, there's clients asking, like clients could do this. Like people could just buy a program and I can do that. Like, what are we gonna do about that? We've just got to think creatively, I suppose. These things aren't going anywhere. So I think it's just like, having trust in your humanness, I think, is probably what I'd say. And then also, I suppose that hope element is that it could be also one of the most exciting times. And one thing we do often all the time at work is repositioning. Let's look at it from a different perspective. And it could be, I'm trying to do that myself. I'm certainly not perfect at it at all, but I'm always like, okay, I'm going to see this more as an opportunity, and try not to see it as a threat, and see it more as an opportunity. How can we make that an opportunity? So I'd say, I think keep the faith, and just, try and see it as an opportunity. But it's difficult to do.
That's a really good one.
I don't have the answers.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
No, I love it. I mean, it was a really lovely chat, and
Thanks.
I really enjoyed it. And I want to thank you so much for the time. I know you have a lot of work on your mind and a lot of things, so it was really a pleasure to talk to you.
Likewise, and
and
I loved it.
It would definitely be lovely to do it again sometime in the future, to catch up on the things and see how it goes. And that would be really lovely.
That'd be brilliant. Yeah, let's do that.
Absolutely.
I'd love to stay in touch. I feel like I know loads about you too, so it's really it's good. If you ever come to LA,
absolutely. I mean,
and look at all the dog walkers.
Yeah. Perfect. I will definitely be in touch. Maybe, you never know, for the next Adobe Max, if it's in LA.
Oh, yeah.
You never know.
Oh, that'd be good. Awesome. Okay, well, thank you as well for having me, and I really appreciate your time.
Totally my pleasure. And I wish you guys all the best, and chat soon again, I guess.
Thanks. You too.
Okay. Have a great day, and bye-bye, everyone.
Real stories with bold creatives.